challenged me with something, and so I'm saying this because I want you to test to this. I started waking up every single morning and I started meditating on who He created me to be. I ain't say nothing. I don't need to call no.
Whether you felt like it or not.
Whether I felt like thank you, honey. Because I realized until we all get a clear picture of who God created us on the inside, our freaking outside is always going to be messed up.
It's always going to be lacking.
It's always going to be lacking.
Be broken.
Always. It's always going to be half. So many women want to find a husband. I
wanted to find God
there you go.
First.
Honey.
I wanted to find God first.
Okay. So if you're in the church world, a lot of people say, we all got God. Let me ask you a question. Because I don't think we ever really got this on camera before. Let me ask you a question. So when you were single and we met, we were seeing each other on and off, what was your focus? I know God, but what else was your focus?
My life and my personal growth. And God was showing and teaching me so much about myself.
Did you go on dates?
Very rarely.
Okay.
Very, very, very rarely.
Why?
Because I wasn't interested. I wasn't interested. I really wasn't interested. I felt like God will make sure that my husband and I meet. Okay. That I don't have to go looking.
So, okay.
That's exactly what he did because we were both working. We both just showed up to work.
Did you want to get married again?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to get married again because I felt like the first time that I was quote unquote married, because obviously it wasn't marriage, the first time it left me feeling unsatisfied. Like I still had a longing to experience what a beautiful marriage is, what a healthy marriage is. So I was determined. I'm like, I said, before I leave this earth, I'm going to have a beautiful, healthy marriage.
So in that process, because a lot of times, especially in dating, and I can say too, for me as a man, at that point in my life with dating, I hated dating. I couldn't stand dating. It was just...
I didn't go out on that many dates because I just didn't want to be bothered.
But you got asked.
I rarely met somebody who I thought that I wanted to spend one-on-one time with.
So the first time when you met me, you saw me, what did you say? Remember, because we talked about
I said, okay, so... I feel like I'm very, very sharp at reading people. Well, I am. I know I am. So when I met my husband, obviously he wasn't my husband yet, and he was introduced to everyone in the room. I was the last person in the room. I knew I was going to be the last person in the room too because of the person that introduced us. I knew I was going to be last.
She wants you.
I knew I was going to be last.
She wants you to steal her shine.
So yeah. So he looked me in the eye. I think he shook my hand. He said hello. He probably said nice to meet you. And immediately I thought, he's a very decent guy. I knew it. I knew it right away. Because you meet a lot of men, you see a lot of men, you have a lot of different experiences because men usually have a hard time hiding what they're thinking when they're looking at a woman.
Being a damn pervert.
So, a lot of times I feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable a lot of times because men aren't able to hide easily. A lot of men, they're not able to easily hide. And this is something that, as a woman, like any other woman, you start experiencing that at a very young age. So that was the impression that you left on me, was that there's something very different about him.
She wasn't looking.
No, I wasn't looking at him.
I wasn't even looking.
I didn't check him out. It was just hello.
I wasn't looking. She wasn't looking. I remember that evening because I wasn't going to go. I wasn't going to go to the event. And I'm like,
I wasn't going to go either.
And I said, maybe I'll meet my wife tonight. And I said, not. I really didn't. I said it, but I really didn't believe it. And that night, neither one of us had this epiphany that we would be sitting 4 years later across from each other. But one of the things that evening that struck me is Jamila didn't give a shit about me. She didn't care. She didn't look at me like, oh, that's him. She didn't really care. And so, and then I thought she had she was very pretty, but her look was very unique. And that was it. And I think later on that evening, I sent her an inbox because we were both working at the time, so I don't really do the business and pleasure thing. I never did. And I sent her an inbox and I said she just wanted to have breakfast. She grew up me. But with so many people looking to be married and being in a relationship, I love it. Like, you just weren't looking.
You wouldn't think I wanted to be married at all.
No,
Because I didn't.
True.
Yeah.
No, you just weren't looking.
And you know, I'm gonna just say it because I've wanted to say it many times. So when
it.
I look at a lot of single women's Facebook pages, I'm sorry, a lot of y'all look desperate. God bless you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna give it to you straight. That's who I am. And if you look back at my page when I was single, you don't see the years leading up to us meeting and getting married, and you know, you don't see anything that would give you the slightest indication that I have a man in my life or that I want a man in my life.
It's funny because the day, so when we met, she had been not with the kid's father for years. And the day after I proposed,
I left him.
the day after I proposed. And so to her point about all this time, she had no clue that he was watching her Facebook page every single day. So the day after I proposed, he literally reappeared and sent me an inbox message.
A long inbox message.
A long inbox message, literally the day after. And so now her and I have been talking or dating for almost a year or so.
But nobody really.
Nobody really knew. But the day after I proposed, he sent. And so that's a testament to she wasn't looking. And so these are things that we have to rectify because honestly, your marriage is serious business. And so, to my wife's point about women looking desperate, I'm gonna say this as from the male perspective. And with all of this Harvey Weinstein, all this BS going on, men are hunters. A man can smell insecurity in a woman a mile away, even through a post. So sometimes you're wondering how you keep ending up in the same situations, how you keep dating the same men, is because we can smell insecurity, fear, easy. I'm gonna be able to hit that real easy.
And they will make sure they stay away from
We
that.
can smell. Well, no. A man who wants to get married will stay away from that. But a man who's on a prowl, on a hunt, he gonna hunt you out. It's
He's
like
gonna hunt, but he's not gonna stay around.
He's not gonna. No, that's what I'm saying. He's not gonna stay around. That's my point. And so there's a bunch of, just like we started this video, the change has to happen inside. I'm gonna say this, too, because I want to put these things on camera because I'm so freaking tired of all this false
Pretentious
shit that we put out there. All these images that are just not real, and so you think you got to be an image of perfection. Yo, prior to me meeting my wife, I had to have a conversation with myself. At a point in my life, I was a dog. I didn't care. I didn't want to. As a matter of fact, I think when we first met, I told her I want a relationship, right? I said it to her.
But it kills me how you were saying that, and I wasn't trying to get you in it.
Right, no, she wasn't. But
he just kept saying it out the blue like he had Tourette's.
Yeah, I didn't want
a relationship.
I didn't want a relationship, and I would tell
Both
her
of us were
because I still wanted sex. Point blank. So I said it to her because I still wanted sex, and so I want to keep this video real. It's like, come on, now, all this little fake stuff that we do because I still wanted sex from her because she was sexy. Period. But that still made me wrong. And so there was a point in time, even when we were talking, she cut me off. She was like, "Okay, that's not what I want to do anymore, right?"
Well, it wasn't what I wanted when we met. When we
I know, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I already, babe, come on, you can't. Because spiritually who I was at that time, it was confusing to me that I even got caught up in that type of relationship because I was so good at just staying in my own world, doing my thing, focusing on God, getting my life together, taking care of my kids, that it was like, how am I even here right now?
Exactly.
Just messing with somebody every once in a while.
Yeah, but we did it though. And then she got to a point where she's like, okay, that's enough. And I'm like, okay, fine, because I didn't want a relationship either. And then
there were nights before we got together. It was a few times before we got together where I knew I was getting ready to go see him. And I said, God, get me out of this, because I knew it wasn't who I was.
Exactly.
I knew it didn't fit
what you saw about yourself.
what I wanted for my life and the woman that I had become at that point. So I literally sent it back like, God, get me out of this. Somehow mess this up so I can't get over there tonight because I really I liked getting together with him, but both of us did. But neither one of us were trying to get each other into a relationship. It was we were doing our thing, living our lives, and every now and then, let's see what Robert is doing.
Yep.
Okay, come over.
And I got to a point where, in between our hiatus, I looked myself in the mirror and I'm like, yo, what do you want? What do you want from your life? And so I had to mature as a man. And then one of the things that men don't talk about enough when it comes to being married, you have to be willing to say to yourself, are you ready to cut all the other women off? Because I don't care what we say. We live in America. Every man got somebody there and every girl got somebody there. Oh, no, I don't. I'm not in a relationship. It ain't about you being in a relationship. It's about you got somebody that you can call to come over when you're lonely. And maybe it's not a physical thing. Maybe it's an emotional thing. And so I had to get to the point in my life where I was really willing to say, okay, she's the one I want to marry. Am I willing to make the changes? Because everybody want to get married, but they're not willing to make the changes that come along with marriage. And then that's just being immature. And
then you have two unhappily married people.
Yeah. And so marriage is a large topic that we can't even cover in one sitting. Although we do have some books coming out. But it's really important because we have all these fairy tales about marriage. Listen to me. Marriage doesn't complete a goddamn person. It doesn't. You're offended, don't watch our videos, but I'm going to be me from here on out. I'm going to say what I want to say. Marriage doesn't fulfill anybody. Marriage, you know what's fulfilling about marriage? Is God's purpose for it. I am fulfilled that I get to wake up next to such a beautiful woman. But at the same time, I know I have some ugly ways that I need to change, and that I am changing so that our relationship can stay beautiful. That's the truth about marriage. That's the truth about marriage. And so all these little fairy tales, my goal for 2018 is that my wife and I, the ballads, we're going to destroy every misconception about marriage and relationships known to mankind. And then we're going to begin to plant seeds about marriage. So if you truly, truly want to be married, you're not married right now, keep rocking with us. Keep rocking with us. Because we're going to bring you truth. We're not going to bring you no fairy tale. Because sometimes we all get horny, and sometimes we want some. It's the truth. And so you wind up calling somebody because, I got to a point in my life where even when I was horny and I wanted to call her, I laid in that bed, I turned my eye, probably didn't sleep all night long because I had to get to the point where I wasn't sharing my body with just anybody. And I made a commitment to Robert and to God before I made a commitment to her. That's real talk right there.
And then by the time we did get back together, both of us had been abstinent. Both of us.
Good Lord have mercy.
Unknowingly,
right.
He asked me, if I had anybody. I didn't have anybody, and I had already decided, no, I'm just not doing it. It's not acceptable.
And we were both absolutely, completely single. Let me say it again. We were both absolutely, completely single. It wasn't where I had somebody on the side I had to get rid of. I had literally... Everybody was gone. I was just working. I was just grinding. That's
what, and I think, you know what I realized? I think when we got together and we were just kind of hooking up every so often, I think each of us were doing that because I was safe.
You were safe.
I knew I didn't need to be in a relationship yet. Mm-hmm. You didn't want to be in a relationship, but it's like because you weren't pushing for a relationship and I wasn't pushing like I want him, you gotta be my man. That was safe.
Yeah, it was safe.
It was some level of comfortable for us at that time.
And then
for a season.
Exactly, for a season. And that's the thing, it's always going to be a season. And then I got to say this too. We both have a past. So there were some people I dogged out, some people I ignored. I don't ever want to come across, no. From the time when Jamila and I have gotten together, I had already, prior to that, I had already started making changes and rearranging, and I saw in myself the man I didn't want to be. I saw different men who were in my life when I was a kid, and I'm like, I don't want to be 60 years old still chasing women. I don't want my kids.
It's not exciting when you're 60 and you're chasing women, because it's not as easy to catch them. It really isn't.
True.
It really isn't.
True.
You know, when you're young and you know you're fine, it's thrilling.
Right.
But when you're 60
right.
and
right.
everybody's looking at you like, get out of here, old man.
Right.
It's not sexy
It's not sexy anymore. We gotta make these changes, yo. And so it's us. Real life, yo.
And you know what?
Wait,
let me just say this real quick, although it may seem a little bit irrelevant. Women do have this natural, especially in the world that we live in today. We want to be sexy, and we want to wear all these sexy outfits and all this stuff. And you know, you can challenge my belief all you want. I don't care. You can have that at home. You can have that at home, and I'm telling you, it's better.
Absolutely.
It's much better when you have it at home.
Well, can I
don't just give all of that away for free.
Thank you.
Don't give all of that away for when a man is looking at you and he's lusting after you. He should at least have to use his imagination.
Yeah.
Don't just give it all away for free.
Yeah.
I knew someday in the future, before we got married, that I was willing to commit to someone, but he had to be someone who I believed deserved all that I had to give and all that I wanted to give.
Right.
And I wanted to give all of me.
I
didn't want to hold, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be kind of somewhat in. I wanted to totally give myself 100%.
That's your question? Because I don't think I've ever really heard, well, I don't know. Let me ask you a question, honey. So, you obviously, because, you know, you had sex with other people in life, right?
No. Okay.
The question I want to ask you is this. So with you sharing your body with other people, I know you tell me at times you felt like it was like you just did it and got it out the way. But what inside you, because I love what you just said, what inside you made you say, you know what, I've shared my body with other men, but there's something I need to hold for my husband. You ever had that moment?
Something I need to hold for you as
just like the time, like, you know what, like that's enough sharing myself with other people.
I figured out they didn't deserve it.
Okay.
At some point, I figured out once I started to value, and this happened because of my walk with Christ. The more I became stronger in who I am, and God really showed me who you are. You know, that there was a whole lot of junk that was attached to me, but I was so much more. Then I realized nobody deserved that. Nobody deserved it. Even the person that I so-called married the first time, he didn't deserve it because he didn't honor it and he didn't value it. Nobody deserves to just get to touch. You know, I know as women we're taught that certain things are beautiful and a certain type of figure is a 10 and a certain type of body is unattractive. But the truth of the matter is, as a woman, God created you with this indescribable sensuality and beauty. You are not just body parts and sizes of body parts, and nobody should just get to have that just because they like it. Just because they want it. Just because they're curious. Just because they turned on. You're more valuable than that.
And again, it's maturity. Because I was
he's married to me. Not because we got married, because he's married to me. Every single day that I see, I don't have to wonder if my husband loves me. I really don't. And I know what that's like because I've been that woman in the past. But he gets everything. I'm not going to say everything, what I mean by everything. Because we're on camera. Stuff I didn't even imagine.
Well, come.
And it's beautiful.
I love you.
Love you too.
Shout out to the ballads. Thank you for having
Shout us.
Thank you for having our morning coffee with us. Or thank you for sharing. Well, we had coffee. They didn't have coffee. I like that. It was good. Say goodbye, honey.
Goodbye, honey.
Say goodbye. There, honey.
Goodbye there, honey.
Okay. She's looking sexy with this thing on, so we're going to go ahead and stop this.